If you're not experiencing the growth in your business that you want, if you're not experiencing the momentum, the traction that you want, right? Odds are, for many of you, it's because you're bouncing around from thing to thing, because you haven't gotten pure clarity, crystal clear clarity on your model for growth, right? Like your actual growth model. You haven't gotten clarity on it. You haven't identified the core pieces that move you forward. And so you end up bouncing from thing to thing. We talked about this idea of the flywheel, which we're going to be talking about. You're going to see it in context, and how, like, look, if you're trying to push one flywheel, if you're trying to do one thing, if you're exploring a launch, and then you're going over here and you're doing low ticket customer acquisition, and then you're going over here and you're doing telephone sales, and then maybe you're doing a summit over here, and you're going from flywheel to flywheel, right? And you're pushing over here, and then you're pushing a little bit here, and you're pushing a little bit here, and you're pushing a little bit here, and what happens is none of the flywheels, none of the things gain traction. None of the things take off. None of the things have been invested enough into to take off on their own. And so you have to constantly go back and forth between all of these. And you push this one and this one and this one and this one. And then you got to go back to the very first one. And by the time you go back to the first one, it's slowing down again because you're spread all over the place, because you're not clear on what should you be doing every day, every week, every month, every quarter to move your business forward. Like specifically, what is it? What are the levers that move your business forward? And if you're not clear on that, it's going to be really difficult to pull the right levers all the time. Sometimes you might get lucky. Sometimes entrepreneurs do get lucky, right? But I don't want you guys to operate with luck. I want you to look at your business model today. I want you to be willing. I'm going to talk for maybe 45 to 60 minutes tops, and then we're going to talk, and we're going to talk openly, we're going to talk honestly, and we're going to share with one another, and we're going to address your business, because that's what this is about. And so over the next hour, I want you to really be open to looking at your business and looking at your model and asking yourself if there are gaps, if it is the right model for you, and if you are crystal clear on what are the 4 or 5 levers that you need to be pulling every day, your team, that need to be pulling every day to grow. What are the 4 or 5? And which are the ones that you're currently pulling that aren't part of those 4 or 5? Which are the ones that you're pulling and focusing on and doing that you shouldn't be doing because they're not part of your model? Just because something is being done by another business, just because it's being done and it's being done well and it's a contributor to success for another business, does not mean that it's a good idea for you. Does not mean that it should be something that you do. There are a lot of great ideas. There are a lot of great tactics. There are a lot of great strategies that you should not be doing. How do you know that? Well, you first have to know what your model is and what are those levers that you need to be pulling. And when you know those levers and you're crystal clear on those levers, that's when you can grow and you can gain momentum. And then your growth picks up speed on its own. And so that's what we're gonna be talking about. And so we're talking about this. I decided to talk about this topic for 2 reasons. So number one is that I don't want to see any of you, I like to refer to meandering, meaning where you're unsure like of what you should be doing every week. You know, like I don't want you showing up to see. Let me share this. A lot of people mistake a mastermind for a place that you go to get new ideas for you to implement, new tactics, new strategies, new models, new methods for you to implement. And they end up leaving with a whole bunch of new tactics, new strategies, new ideas, and then they try to implement some of them and they make a mess, right? They're taking half of this recipe, half of this recipe, half of this recipe, and they end up with a disaster. What you want to be doing is looking for ways to innovate within your model, innovate on those levers. So you're still focused on the core levers, and you're going to understand what I mean by that and what those look like in just a little bit, but you're innovating with how you're pulling those levers, with how you're moving those things. You're not looking for any and every different way to grow your business. That's not what you are here for. And so when I say meandering, right, it's that I don't want you just wandering about, like looking for opportunities to how am I going to grow my business? Oh, that sounds, it's working for Jeremy, it's working for Kevin, it's working for Francis, and so I'm gonna roll with it. No, I don't want you meandering, going all over the place. When you focus, every time we have in our business focused on a small set of levers to pull, we've moved like multiple steps compared to what we normally do. It's linear versus exponential, which we're going to be talking about. Yeah, you know, Damien always, you know, he says, he used to say it on a regular basis when this was a bigger problem for us, but he said we can do anything, we just can't do everything. Right? And so the point is, really, you're going to see, the point is that with the right model, your business will grow not only bigger, not only faster, but more efficiently. Your business will grow bigger, it'll grow faster, it'll grow more efficiently. But I don't want to see any of you meandering. Like, here's the reality, that the reality is this. Again, to strip away the veneer and to bring it, and to say what needs to be said. I don't want to see 6 months from now anybody in this room wondering, like, I'm really not sure what I should be doing, or we're not really that much further along, or we're still struggling on X, Y, Z. If you are, it's because you haven't gotten clarity. We haven't gotten you clarity on this. If you are meandering about and you're wondering, what should we be pulling every day? What should we be doing? Or you're constantly rethinking, what should we be pulling every day, right? Or you're constantly changing what you're pulling every day. You're off the mark. You're never going to gain traction that way. And more entrepreneurs than you would believe get sucked into that vortex of they really don't know. They're doing a lot, but they're doing a lot with they're not, what they're doing isn't producing traction because they're bouncing from thing to thing to thing to thing. They hear a new idea, they implement it. They hear a new idea, they implement it. And they never gain any traction. And so they're perpetually hustling. Their business isn't getting more mature. It's not operating more efficiently. They are just in perpetual hustle mode. I don't want that for anybody in here. And so that's no more meandering, no more growth in spurts. There are some models that lend themselves very well to growth in spurts, right? Where boom, you do really well and then it goes down. Businesses that are reliant on launches, product launches is a perfect example, right? A feast and famine. Goes up, and I saw it many years ago, right? I was in a business, a partnership, and boom, 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 feast or famine. So it's not about growth in spurts. It's about growing every day. You want to see your business grow every day. You want to see your business grow every day and gain traction every day in its growth, in those levers that are being pulled, right? Also, I already said, I don't want you unfocused in your efforts. I don't want, if you ever ask yourself, if you ever show up at any point and you're like, I'm not sure what to do this week to grow the business based on our model. I'm not sure what to do this week to grow our business based on our model, then you do not have clarity on the model. And you will continue to meander about until you get this clarity. And so that's why we're talking about what it is that we are talking about. On the flip side, right, it's like I said, when you nail the model, when you've got clarity on your model, it's so that you can grow more, you can grow faster, you can grow consistently, not in spurts, and you can grow with more efficiency so that you're not having to hustle. That's what we're talking about here.